The Calgary Flames have already made one major move this offseason, but with the season now officially over, and we like how it ended, and free agency opening up next week, Craig Conroy is in a prime position to make even more moves. And we will dive into a couple hypothetical moves that could be made. But before we do that, I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I am Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family. But before we get into kind of some potential moves here and some rumors, let's talk about how it's still all love with Chucky. I know it happened 2 nights ago now, but it just has to be said that the Edmonton Oilers did not win the Stanley Cup. Almost every single Flames fan was over the moon. It was one of the best nights in this city in a very, very long time. And of course, the Florida Panthers, who did win the Cup, have a couple of ex-Flames on their team. Well, 3 really, if you include Ryan Lomberg in there. But the main man himself, Matthew Tkachuk, had something to say about Calgary. I'm sure most of us have seen it by now, but in case you missed it, this is what he had to say when he was being interviewed by Sportsnet after capturing Lord Stanley. He said, "Shout out to my fans in Calgary. You know I couldn't let Edmonton win, and we are thankful. Chucky, I know a lot of people are sour about the way he went out just because he went out pretty much right as Johnny Gaudreau did. At least Matthew Tkachuk was upfront about it and didn't do what Johnny Hockey did. Matthew Tkachuk all along was, very transparent about how he was going to go about things. And we know we didn't win the trade. A lot of people miss him. Some people are still salty at him. But after hearing this, maybe he doesn't have tons of pure 100% fans, but it's still all love with Chucky. And we are thankful that Florida was able to win the Cup. Tkachuk didn't do a whole lot in the Stanley Cup final, so it wasn't necessarily him not letting Edmonton win, but either way, we are thankful nonetheless, and congratulations to the Florida Panthers for winning the Stanley Cup. It would have been a depressing time here had Edmonton won, and we never would have heard the end of it. But let's shift our focus back to the current Calgary Flames and talk about a potential trade target that has surfaced in the trade rumor mill recently. And this one's interesting, but it kind of does make sense in a way. Obviously, we'll get into all of that. So let's just hop right into 3 potential trade destinations for Canucks. Ilya Mikheyev. This comes from Matthew Zader from the Hockey Writers. So the Hockey Writers, they know their stuff. They love a little rumor or two. And these ones, it kind of makes sense. We're obviously not going to go over the 3 potential trade destinations for Mikheyev. We're just going to go over one, which is, of course, the Calgary Flames. So let's see what is said here. So Alvin and Milstein did a lot of business with Calgary Flames GM Craig Conroy during the 2023-24 season. First, they acquired Nikita Zadorov in November and then consummated a blockbuster trade involving Andrei Kuzmenko and Elias Lindholm in February, not to mention a first-round pick, Hunter Brustevich, and Yoni Yermo, and another pick as well. In Kuzmenko's case, Alvin had to convince him to waive his no-trade clause to join the Flames as they were on his 12-team no-trade list, so at least someone wanted to come to Calgary, and that was, of course, the koozie doozy. Let's continue. Oh, wrong button. There it is. Could Alvin, Milstein, and Conroy get together again this offseason and do a similar deal with Mikheyev? While it won't be nearly the same magnitude, the Flames could be willing to send a mid-tier prospect or 3rd-round pick the Canucks way for his services. Even if the Flames are on Mikheyev's no-trade list, Kuzmenko's success in Calgary should be enough to sway him to waive it. And it is interesting to say in the least here, where am I going with this? This is where I'm going. The Flames have a little over $23 million in cap space after the trade of Jacob Markstrom, so they can comfortably fit Mikheyev's $4.75 million in their salary structure. They also don't have a lot of depth beyond their top 6, and he would be reunited with Kuzmenko, who he showed some chemistry with in Vancouver when he had his breakout rookie season with 39 goals and 74 points. According to Natural Stat Trick, in about 250 minutes of even strength ice time together, the Canucks outchanced 122 to 113 and outscored 18 to 13 their opponents and also scored 14 high danger goals. So Mikheyev and Kuzmenko are a pretty good duo together. They have some chemistry. The Flames don't necessarily need to add Mikheyev here, but if they need to reach the salary floor and want to try and spark Kuzmenko and turn him into the goal scorer we know he can be, like he showed with the Canucks, then Mikheyev's not a terrible option. He wouldn't be too expensive. I'm sure the Canucks would be willing to make it almost look like a contract dump situation. If you missed the trade between San Jose and Detroit yesterday, it was kind of nuts. Jake Wallman went over to San Jose. It genuinely seems like Mike Greer has something over Steve Yzerman. I don't know what's going on there, but maybe the Flames could swing a trade like that as well. But as we do, let's get into Mikheyev's stats from last season. So not the strongest season from Ilya here, and he's not the youngest guy either, so it doesn't exactly fit the plans of what Conroy wants. He wants younger players for sure. It doesn't have to be prospects, but just younger roster players. Mikheyev, a little bit older, but look, in 78 games, he still had 31 points last season and did finish the season with a positive plus-minus. Not the most eye-popping stats. He's never going to be a huge scorer, but you never know if he does get paired up with Kuzmenko, what could happen. And either way, it's worth taking a look at. Am I saying let's acquire Ilya Mikheyev? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it is worth taking a look at, especially if we do need to reach the salary floor. And, if Kuzmenko asks to say, hey, maybe bring in one of my old buddies that I used to play well with, why would Conroy say no? I'm not saying this is going to happen. It is purely a rumor, but it is one worth looking at for sure. Now let's get into the next move here I guess the Flames could make and talk about a potential free agency target this time. And this one is a lot more interesting because it's a name that has been thrown around recently all over the NHL, and the Flames have been involved as well. So let's get into was just told to keep an eye on Morgan Frost as a guy the Flames might be targeting this week. This one, I have no idea what site that is originally from, but Andrew Mangiapane is the best Twitter account that is used frequently. If you're in part of the Sea of Red and not paying attention to this Twitter account, you should be. But Calgary Puck rumor season. And why does Morgan Frost make sense? For quite a few reasons. First off, it is kind of known that Morgan Frost is on the outs with the Philadelphia Flyers. Just like John Tortorella does, he PO'd another one of his players. Frost and Torts do not get along. Frost wants out. He didn't even have all that bad of a season, but he's had a little bit of a disappointing career. Not too bad, really. He was a late first rounder quite a few seasons ago. He's 25 years old now, so kind of in that range Conroy is looking for of maybe some younger players. I won't say young, but younger players that could be on the move, could go for some cheap deals and fit well into the Flames' plans for the future. And why not? Morgan Frost still has tons of potential. Now, if we look into his stats from last season, a little bit better stats than a lot of people would have thought, because Morgan Frost, let's face it, he's not a name that gets thrown around all that much throughout the season, but 41 points in 71 games isn't anything to shake your head at. He did finish with a positive plus minus on that Flyers team that just did not want to win down the stretch. 13 goals, 28 assists. He kind of does a little bit of everything. 6 foot, 25 years old recently. He's pretty bog standard when you just look at the stats and dimensions of everything. But he really is not that bad of a player at all. And I would love to see the Flames try to pursue him. Genuinely, I think he does fit well into the Flames' plans for the future. If we take a deeper look here into some of his facts here from Elite Prospects. So he's another Canadian boy. As I said before, he was a late first rounder, pick number 27 overall back in 2017, which does mean he is now 25 years old. So not exactly the youngest. Here it says he's 5'11". On the other graphic, it said 6 foot. That's kind of where my height is at. No, I'm definitely under 6 feet. But either way, he's not the biggest guy. He could definitely add some poundage, but he could fit very well into this Flames team in this kind of transitioning roster we have going. Another young guy with potential. Why not try it out if you can get him for cheap? And I'm sure Frost will be going for some term, but if we offer him something with less term and more salary, that totally works for us. I think this is worth pursuing, and I would not be disappointed at all if Morgan Frost does end up being a Calgary Flame before the beginning of next season. Now let's wrap up this video with the comment of the day, and this one I genuinely think has broken the record for the most likes a comment has ever gotten on the channel. You already know where I'm going with this. Of course, it is, how about the Oilers losing last night? Now, of course, this is 2 nights ago now, but still, Flames fans are rejoicing that Edmonton did not win. This one comes from @Flames Hockey Fan, so it couldn't be more poetic justice there, really. Here in the screen grab too, it says 24 likes. I believe it's closer to 30 now. Yeah, like I said, could be the most liked comment on the channel we have ever seen, but we are all very happy, and at least we finally have something to be happy about as Flames fans. We have just been getting pounded and pounded lately, but thank you so much for commenting that, and once again highlighting that the Edmonton Oilers did not win the Stanley Cup. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe if you like what you saw here today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.